Mr. Jerry Vaval. What's going on, blood?
JTG.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up?
Welcome to audience, our family members, our avid listeners to another episode of Giant Fundamentals, the podcast dedicated to empowering men by tackling the vital issues of mental health. And with that being said, I want to raise a glass. Let's do a little toast because this is episode 150. Bling. mm, mm, that tastes so good. Let me get a little sweet. It hit that back of that throat. But it's such a monumentous occasion for us to have 150 episodes. That actually leads into my giant gratitude, which is, rewiring your brain cannot start you cannot start it and not see it all the way through. So one of the many things that we're doing in this podcast is we're rewiring not only my brain, your brain, but everyone that listens to this podcast. We're rewiring their brain and undoing a lot of the programming that was put upon us when we were little. And it's a process that you can't just start and stop and expect great results. You can't just open the package and close it right back up. You have to see it all the way through. And that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of self-reflection. It's a lot of fears involved because you have to be able to go deep within yourself. And it's scary when you actually see what's behind all of the facade, all of the things that you put up your whole life. So I just want to say thank you. I'm grateful for this podcast. I'm grateful for our connection. I'm grateful for the information that we've been able to put out into the universe. And salute to 150, bro.
150, man. There's a stat that says, like majority of people, I don't remember the exact number, but the majority of people who start a podcast only get to about episode 8 and then they fall off. And we've been able to go for 150 episodes, 3.5 years strong.
Going into season 4.
Just dropping the episodes. And I think for me, the thing that I am most appreciative of this journey, like putting the episodes out, is it is in direct alignment with who I am as a person. I'm not going out of my way to try to be something or speak something or do something that is not who I am. For our listeners out there, I think those who have been following us and been with us on this journey from the beginning, I think they know by now that I'm a type of person, I eat my own dog food. Like the work that I'm giving my clients is the same work that I give myself. Matter of fact, I do the work on myself first before I actually give it to my clients to do, because I just don't want to have a theoretical approach to helping my clients. I'm recognizing that in order to really give my clients and give people in general the transformation that they deserve, I must first be going through a transformation, because that's when you are literally transferring the energy of self-confidence, the energy of self-love, the energy of just believing that you deserve more than anything you could ever imagine. That's how you transfer that energy over. That's how people are transformed. So I'm just thankful that we've had the courage to bring people in to our walk, our development, our identity shift, our identity transformation as men.
Yeah, man. And we, like you said, we've kept it authentic. We haven't hidden anything. We've kept it real. Literally, one of our listeners was like, man, how do you guys come up with the weekly episodes? It just seems like it hits every time. It's something that I'm dealing with every single time. It's like, bro, we're just living life. We're living life. Jono texts me the title, and then we flow. We just flow through it. with that being said, and I don't know, this might be the last episode of the year. We're not sure yet. You know what I mean? Because it takes a lot of work. We might need a little break. I might want to end on 150 and not 151. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I just want a little teaser out there. I know y'all gonna miss us. But what I will say is one thing we definitely need more of is an Eminem, mental health music. So what Eminem do you have for us today?
Okay, so it's a song that I'm actually writing right now. I don't even know the title of the song yet, but I just started making a song.
Yeah.
So the hook is how the hook goes. I'm on my God shit, nigga. I live forever. The mission never stops. It's a long-term endeavor. Ascension in sight. All vices have been severed. Reclaiming my dominance. Come, let's band together. I do this for the collective, a bigger purpose. Excavating to the core, plowing beneath the surface. My vision was impaired. Yeah, I was blind. My perception has been altered, purely refined.
Mm. Talk about eating your own dog food. Definitely appreciate you bringing your own song to the platform. Like, what was your thought process? Because it sounds like you're digging, and as you're digging, you're finding new levels of treasure that's coming to the surface, and you're trying to tell people like, "Yo, how much more or how much further could we get ahead if we do this together? If you had your shovel and I had my shovel, and we're digging, and we're finding treasure. We're digging and digging, we're finding more treasure." So is that, am I on the right path of what your
Yeah,
thought?
definitely on the right path. I think for me, the the gist of this is shadow work.
Mm,
Like me truly finding myself at my core. Like I've lost myself in roles that I've played over the years, and now I'm coming to a space where I'm truly finding myself. And as I'm going deeper and deeper, I'm saying, "Yo, hey, look, it's good over here. Come join me." That's why I said, "Let's band together, and
mhm.
let's get the excavator and let's go deep. Let's go beneath the surface because, like you said, that's where the treasure is. That's where true happiness and wholeness is." And I'll just read this other part going into the first verse. Um, I say, "Stop looking for a savior. Nobody's gonna save you. That's low vibe behavior. You're royal, highly favored. Connect with your creator. All mistakes are merely data from the Holy One who made you. Hope you catch this. This shit is major. Check the EKG because this message is critical. Transcending the now, journeying past the physical. The Christians are upset. They say this isn't biblical. And judgment comes from the camp, but that shit is typical." Yeah.
I think that's self-explanatory.
It may not be, so you should tell the people what you think.
Well, I just finished watching the Diddy documentary, so I was already in the studio ready to, saying, take that, take that, take that. But I think that, and this is, I don't want to be politically correct, but I think a lot of times when we express what we feel and what we believe and what we've discovered, people of faith or people who are religious take offense to it. They automatically get defensive. And in the verse that you read, what I hear is like, yo, you may call yourself a sinner, right? So in calling yourself a sinner, you're more prone to making mistakes or falling. But those mistakes, that fallen nature is just data. It's supposed to help you learn and connect with the source within you because you were created by a bigger source. You were created by God, and everything that you need to connect with him and to live a great life is within you, right? So I think oftentimes, especially with our abandonment issues, we feel like there's saving outside of us. Like
Yeah.
someone has to come and carry us to this great place or this great journey, or that's what happiness is, someone saving me, when everything you need to be saved is within yourself.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I think we struggle with that a lot, and I feel like if I'm to be honest, I struggled with that for a very long time as well. I'm not sure when I actually got out of it, but
Hmm.
that's the funny thing. Is like on the outside looking in, people can see me like, man, Jono on his shit. He's doing this and he's doing that. But there's still something inside of me, or there was something inside of me that abandonment womb that you say, that mother womb that you talk about, that father womb that you talk about, is like that little child in me still wants someone to come rescue me. It's kind of like I'm gonna do all of this work right now, and I'm just kind of waiting for somebody to just say, "Ah, man, you've been doing a great job. Come, just take a break. Like, here's $1 million. Just here's this opportunity." It's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that.
Hmm.
Every single thing that I need in order to thrive is inside of me, like you mentioned, and a lot of us struggle with that. We're always looking for an outside source to save us, and really doing the work, going deep within yourself, doing that inner work, you'll start to recognize the jewels and the gems that are inside of you, in spite of whatever hand you were given when you were growing up. In spite of that, you'll be able to see the gems and the jewels that are inside of you, and the next thing you know, that's when your confidence as a person really starts to swell up. This is when self-respect starts to be a priority for you. This is when you start to attract things and people in your life that you've always wanted to attract, but you never did. But now you're doing it because you've you've gone through the jungle, and that jungle is going through the scariness, if I could say that, going through the scariness of, or the fear of going into the dark, into the unknown, and finding yourself outside of what the hand that you were given. Because that's a message that has been communicated to every single last one of us from when we were born, the families we were born to. We don't recognize it, but there's a message there. And a lot of us who have experienced some level of childhood trauma, we have negative messages. So for one person, a negative message could be, you're not enough. And that could lead into, okay, in order for you to be enough, you have to perform at the highest level. And we don't recognize that these messages are the things that are holding us back from truly loving ourselves. But when you start doing that work and you start to look at the broader picture and you start to go deeper within yourself and you look deeper into your family history, you be like, oh, okay, like I was just a character in my parents' story. I was just placed here because for whatever reason, but it's not because I'm not enough. These are generational things that have been passed down. But you can't get to that space if you're really not going beneath the surface. You're just going to continue recycling old patterns.
Yeah, definitely. And let the record know, because Jono wanted to toast this episode, I'm drinking on an empty stomach, and I'm starting to, your words are definitely hitting just like this liquor. But I will say that something while you were speaking that came to mind is growing up in the church, and something I struggled with was the theology of inclusion. I don't know if you remember when we were younger, that was something that was not that was, it was frowned upon to have this theology of inclusion, because growing up 7 Day Adventist, like, yeah, you could work in the world, you could, but you can't be of the world. Like, you can't be including everyone into your circle. And what that did was it created this negative uh, trope in my mind that if you didn't believe exactly what I believed, if you didn't live exactly how I lived, I was better than you and you were lower than me, and you were not supposed to be allowed within, the private spaces of my community.
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's something that it took me a long time to, I guess, unravel. It never sat easy with me, but those are one of those negative things, that the cycles that I had to get out of, because it allowed me to naturally judge people without thinking about it. Subconsciously, I just judged everyone,
Yeah.
because it was that was the protection I needed, or the defense I needed to play, to make
Yeah.
sure that I don't include everyone, right? Um, and something you mentioned as well is like going deep within yourself and exploring that darkness. I think just leads us right into our main topic of about exploring a man's identity outside of being a provider, fixer, and protector, right? And it's like, when you decide, like you said in the song, to start excavating, start digging, and going deep, you feel lost. There's a lot of unknown that's there, because once you start to unfold who you really are, you're putting to the side the provider, you're putting to the side the protector, the corporate manager, you're putting to the side all these different roles that make up your identity, and you ask yourself, who am I when no one needs me? So what was, you were thinking, or what did you see out maybe with your clients or out in the world that you felt like this is the topic we needed to do for episode 150?
Well, this comes from Friday evening when we were talking, and I stayed home. I was home alone, and I had time to really reflect on the work that I do, because this year has been, man, it has given me so much good. I can't even express how much good this year has given me. Man, I would say, if I'm going to be honest and objective, man, outside of the day I got married, I think, or that year that I got married, yeah, because that year that I got married, I went on some mission trips. I traveled the country, the world. I did a lot of stuff in that year. So that was what, 2010? So outside of 2010, man, 2025 was the best year of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's not, and I want people to be clear, it's not that everything was going well. Because I could look at it anyway. I could say, man, this was the worst year of my life. Or I could look at it as, man, this was the best year of my life. But the reason that this was the best year of my life is because I've been able to experience things that the men that I work with are experiencing. And even though I may not share it with them in the sessions, there is a level of connectivity energetically that's there, because I'm not speaking from a place of theory. I'm speaking from a place of experience, and I'm speaking from a place of education. So having those things just makes the sessions just a lot more rich. And because I've experienced these things, it's like, yo, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because for me, in real time, I am experiencing a transformation. And like what I told you Friday, and I shared with the audience, we're not in the business of giving therapy. That was the biggest revelation for me. Like, I don't give people therapy, I help people transform.
Mm.
This is the work, and this is the purpose. And I was like, it just clicked. I was like, oh, because there are a lot of men out here who are struggling with identity issues. And the reason why a lot of men are struggling with their identity is because their identity is directly connected to their roles. Their identity, their identity is directly connected to what they do. And it's so bad that they don't even know who they are and what they love and what they like and what's authentically true to them. I had a client who, man, it's crazy stuff. His ex took the kids. I'm gonna say kidnapped the kids. That's what I'm gonna say. Because if it was a man, they probably would have said we kidnapped the kids. So I'm gonna use kidnap. She kidnapped the kids, and he did not see nor did he hear from his kids for 2 years.
Wow.
For 2 years.
If I don't hear from my kids in 2 weeks, I go crazy. So 2 years?
2 years. And literally going crazy. And as we're talking, now mind you, I'm gonna fast forward. He's custody battle. He hears his kids. He hasn't seen them, but he does speak to them, so on and so forth. But he's going crazy because this situation with his ex and him not seeing his kids and having to hire lawyers and go through a custody battle, this stuff here is driving him crazy. And he made a comment as if like to say, I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't have my kids. And I'm like, I understand that this is like a weighty thing for you. I get it. I can't imagine not being able to have access to my kids and see my kids anytime that I want. That's insane. But you're just merely living life from the role of being a father. Who are you outside of being the father? Because at this point in time, you're going through custody battle, you're trying to get things together, you're trying to get your own place, get your own car, so you can have everything situated, so the courts can see that you are a fit father and you will be able to take care of the kids when they are with you. Mm-hmm. But the reality is you can't control and you can't speed up that process. So what are you doing in the meantime while you're waiting outside of taking care of that stuff? Like, what do you like to do for fun? What interests you? Man, I don't know. What he says is, I don't know, I don't know. I really don't know. All I do is work. Wow. Like, I gave him the assignment
Yeah.
to write out some things that he loves to do. And for 3 sessions straight, he comes back with nothing. And
So can
this, and let me say this last thing, and this is the state of men. This is the state of a lot of men. We're so wrapped up in what we do. Our responsibilities have become our identity. And that is the worst place to be. It's not healthy.
Yeah, so what I wanted you to do is start off with a little empathy and grace and give understanding that what you're explaining is normal. Because I think a lot of men feel like it's not normal. And we see this. We saw Shannon Sharp is going through this. Diddy's going through this. Like, because I know people, we have a fascination with celebrities and famous people, and we think because they make a certain amount of money, they don't go through what we go through. Right. So if you can just like explain to the men out there, like what you're describing from your client, we've all gone through or we're going through now, and you will go through it.
Yeah, it's something that when you are a man, you automatically are baked into the specificity of what a man should be. You provide, you protect, you problem solve. Provide, protect, problem solve. If you can't do any of those three things, if you can't do all of those three things, then you are not masculine. So now what ends up happening is your entire identity is wrapped around that. But the way for men, it's really money. How much money can you make? The more money you make, the more of a man you are, the more masculine you are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where capitalism has hijacked manhood and has used it to its benefit. Because now you have men who are literally functionally depressed. And for those who do not know what functional depression is, it's you are depressed, and the way you drown it out is by working and overworking.
Mm-hmm.
And you just overwork, you just work, you work, you work, you work. You don't do anything else but work because you don't want to feel what needs to be felt in order for you to be healed because it's too painful. But you see, the thing is, when you have the identity of a provider, what the automatic thing that happens is that you're like, well, I'm just gonna work. I'm just gonna work to get myself out of it. I'm gonna work to feel better because now I'm gonna make money. Then I can go out and I could do this and I could do that. I'm gonna work because now if I work and I make money, then the lady's gonna come to me because they're gonna see I could provide and I could give them a good time. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna make money because now when we go out, my boys go out, be like, oh yeah, everything's on me. That's just a band-aid. But capitalism has used that part of men's identity to be provider
Mm-hmm.
to make us overwork ourselves so we don't feel insecure. Or let me say, so we drown out the insecurity,
Ooh.
so we can drown out the anxiety, so we can drown out the depression, so we can drown out the confusion and the chaos that we feel within inside ourselves. And most men, if you're not doing the inner work, you're going to go down this train. And life, for a lot of men, it may seem great on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
but on the inside, they're crumbling. And speaking of the Diddy documentary, there's something that I think it was his assistant. If those who haven't watched it, sorry, I'm going to spoil it a little bit for you. But his assistant said that, when Diddy's out, he's like this big figure, he's this and that and that. But she said, when you get into a room with him, just you and him one-on-one, he's the smallest person on earth.
Wow.
I said, damn. But that's classic narcissism, though. That's what it is. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
funny when you said about drowning those insecurities, drowning those different pain points, whatever it is that you may be dealing with in your identity, and you don't realize that you're suffocating the person within yourself. So even when you said the assistant said that Diddy's the smallest person in the room, is because he's spending so much time trying to be bigger than life on the outside to get that external validation that when he's by himself, he's no one.
Bro, that's one thing about solitude and silence. It will drive you crazy if you are not ready to face your demons.
So what
And
are
here's the thing. Here's the
Mhm.
thing. In some shape, way, or form, you're going to have to experience that if you're not dealing with your demons. Because here's the thing with men, we live through this prism of I need to do things in order to feel valuable, in order to feel needed. So that's why a lot of us we get married. That's why a lot of us have kids. That's why a lot of us be saviors in our own little friend groups. That's why a lot of us take on certain positions at work that nobody else wants to take on because we want to feel as if we're needed. That's like a core thing for us. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel as if as human beings, we are a community. We're connected. We are one consciousness. So, of course, you want to have connection with other people. But the problem is when you are doing things to fill that void of being needed. And
Mm.
you're one day your kids are going to leave home. One day that spouse of yours is going to pass away. For a lot of men that I'm dealing with right now, relationships are being severed. People are they're breaking up.
Mhm.
You're gonna lose that job. Your business is gonna dip. You're gonna be an empty nester one day. So guess what? In some shape, way, or form, somewhere down the line, you're going to have to deal with the spaces within yourself that you try to suppress by feeling needed. You're going to have to deal with the things that you've suppressed when you are covering up by being provider, protector, and problem solver. You're going to have to deal with this. So you might as well just deal with it when you have some level of peace. Don't let life happen to the point where it's like now you have this big thing that happened, like you get sick or a spouse or a friend gets sick and like a child passes away. Don't let something dramatic happen. Don't let a loss of a job. Like, don't let something happen in order for you to start digging and doing that work. Because the reality is life is yin and yang. Great things are going to happen and not so great things are going to happen. But we like to start doing the work when not so great things are happening. I mean, at least you can just start when that happens. But listen, if you can get ahead of it, you'll be a lot more emotionally prepared for whatever's about to come your way. But you have to be
So
able to pull back from always being the person, always being the man that has everything under control and that's taking care of everyone else. You have to pull back from that to start working on yourself in order to be prepared for those moments.
so what are the signs when a man's role takes over his identity?
Mm, burnout. Number two, we think it's being tired, but it's not really being tired, it's being depressed. You're depressed.
So wait, because I feel like one and two deal with each other. How do I tell the difference between being tired and depressed?
No, you mean depressed and burnout?
Yeah, well, because when you say burnout, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just tired, right?
No, oh no, burnout.
Okay,
Tired is like, oh, I'm tired from the day. I just take a shower. I need to go to sleep. Next day, boom, I get up. Burnout literally is as if your nervous system has completely shut down.
you can't even get up.
Nah, you can't do nothing. You can't do anything. You can't do anything. So burnout and depression are similar in a way, but burnout comes from overworking yourself constantly, consistently, never breaking, just
Mm,
going. That's how people end up having like mental breakdowns as well when you
okay.
just overdoing it. Depression is more like you don't have energy to eat, or maybe you're eating too much. There's two sides of the coin. You don't
Okay.
have the strength to like really get up and take care of yourself, like shower, just do basic things.
So when you say don't have the energy to eat or to eat too much, that doesn't mean like your girl's pussy or anything like that. Like that's different. That's more of a preference
Sex
or
won't be a
depression.
thing for you if you're depressed. Sex not on your mind.
You're not
But
even trying
again,
to have
burnout and
so
depression
sex.
have the same. They have the same symptoms as well, though.
So sex won't even wake you. Won't even have the urge to have sex. It won't wake you up out of it. It's not a. I
No,
can't get that as medicine. Damn.
no.
All right. I'm just asking. I know the fellas want. You know what I'm saying? They want to know. You
Yeah,
know.
the other sign is resentment. Resentment is another one.
Mm.
Yeah, resentment is a big one. Yo, a lot of men are walking around extremely resentful and don't even know it because we don't understand feelings because we're never given the opportunity to really understand how we feel. Everything is just anger. We don't know. I had this guy that I just started working with, and as he's telling me his family history, I'm like, I said, man, this first session, I was like, it sounds like you have a lot of resentment towards your mom and your dad. He was like, yeah, maybe. It's like he doesn't want to admit it. I said, yeah, because you're telling me that you don't have a close relationship with your mom, but when you need her for something, you still look for her for guidance. I say, yeah, that's that little boy that's like, man, I need my mom, but in the same breath, I'm upset with my mom for how she treated me growing up.
Because it sounds disrespectful. It sounds like you're ungrateful when you say you have resentment towards your parents.
Yeah,
Because
because that's that thing of like, oh, your parents did the best that they could. Yeah, I could acknowledge that they did the best that they could, and in the same breath say, hey, you fucked me up. The two things can be true. And that's the thing what a lot of people don't recognize is that you have to be able to call a spade a spade. It is what it is. Like, you fucked me up. And I'm angry about that. And I'm upset about that. And I feel stuck about that. I feel stuck. I can't get the things that I want to do the things that I want to do. My life is this, that. Yeah, you gotta just let that out. You gotta let it out. And then eventually you can start getting to the space of like, yeah, they did the best that they could. But the way we get there is when we start digging into their childhood, your parents' childhood. But we want to skip steps, and it's because we're afraid. Again, like you said, you don't want to talk bad about your parents. No, you're not talking bad about them. You're telling them, you're expressing your experience with them, and it's not like you're going to broadcasting to everybody like, "Oh, I hate my parents." No, that's not what you're doing. Like your actions, your disconnect, your avoidance, your anxiety when your parents are brought up or when they're around, your body's telling you something. It's telling you, yo, you don't fuck with your parents like that for real. You got resentment towards them. And if you can't admit that, then there's no healing that's gonna happen. There's no forgiveness that's gonna happen.
And I want to shout out that client. I mean, I don't know him, but I want to give him his flowers because these are things that you can really only break down in therapy. It's hard to break down what you're feeling, especially as a man. I can, I don't, my former self could never have these conversations with my ex-wife, with my homeboys, with my sister, with my parents, because like you said, I was never taught my feelings. I didn't know what I was feeling, how I should feel, because in being resentful towards my parents, there's a guilt and shame that follows because of me feeling ungrateful. And if I didn't have a therapist or many therapists to break down and go deep with me, I would it would drive me crazy. I would be misguided on how that affects my identity and my relationship with my parents. So I want to give that client his flowers to. I know it's tough for him, but he's in the right place with you trying to figure those things out, right? And so with that being said, what does a chronic role-based identity lead to, and what would you consider a chronic role-based identity?
Chronic role based identity is simple. Your identity is 100% directly anchored in the things that you do and not who you are.
So
The roles that you
providers
play.
for
Huh?
mhm. So like a provider, for example.
Yeah. Uh, a spouse, father, a son, or an adult son. Now you're taking care of aging parents. A
Mhm.
sibling, could be an older sibling or any sibling in the sibling chain that was the responsible one. You're the one that keeps everybody together, takes care of them. People, you send people money. They're talking to you on the phone about their issues. Those are all roles.
Mm.
And when you find validation only in playing those roles, that's when you have an issue. That's what it is right there. That the chronic based role identity, that's what it is right there. Because now you don't know who you are outside of those roles.
Right.
And we don't recognize that we get frustrated and we become resentful towards those roles and the people that are adjacent to those roles because intuitively we want people to see us for who we are, not for what we do. We want people to love us for who we are, not for what we can do for them. But the challenge is we're in this cycle of always providing, always protecting, always problem solving, and that's the only way we know. And that I would say, it's the only way we know, and that's the safest route to go in order to receive love. So we don't want to just continue on that path, but we don't know any other way how to get love, how to get acceptance, how to be affirmed, how to gain approval, how to seem valued. We don't know how to get those things if we're not playing those roles. However, we're upset that we have to keep playing these roles to get the love and acceptance of affirmation and acceptance that we want. It's a sick cycle, sickening.
So to clarify, should we okay, we want people to love us based on what we do, but we should be wanting people to love us for who we are.
Yeah, we don't see. Here's the thing. I don't believe we should be loved based off of what we do. Because let's just make it practical.
Yeah.
When a child is born into the world, are you waiting for that child to do something to love that child?
Well, I was told I had to get a job. I had to.
I
we
said
waiting for
baby. I said I said baby. I
Some
said
people say, "Hey, this is my
listen,
NFL player right here.
listen,
This is
baby.
my."
Listen. When a baby first comes out, you're just like, whoa, this is my seed.
Yeah.
There's a feeling of love and emotion, and you just want to shower that child with everything you have. Like that's the first. You're not loving that child based off of what they do because they can't do anything.
Mm.
Not only can't they do anything, but it's like, yo, you're just enamored that whoa, this is my child. That's all you're worried about. You're not thinking about anything else. So why does that have to stop? Why does that stop as we get older?
So
Why does it
what
stop?
does that? Oh, I don't know. That's
I
a
know you don't
question
know.
for
It's a
me.
rhetorical question.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, bro, you got the master's degree. But what I was gonna say is, so the question that I want to know is like having that chronic role based identity. What does it lead to? Like, what does it usually look like when that person's only driven by their role?
Oh yeah, the same things I said before. It's like there's a self-hatred, there's a resentment, there's an anger, there's a depression, there's a confusion, and you there's no way you can be happy like that. See, this is why a lot of men are extremely unhappy and we don't recognize we're unhappy, and the people around us, let's say our moms and our girlfriends, our wives, our kids, they don't really understand why we're unhappy. We don't understand why we're unhappy. I had a client of mine, he said, yeah, my mother been telling me for years to go to therapy because I'm just so angry. And now that he's about to have a child, he's like, his girl is like, hey, yo, you gotta go to therapy. He don't know why he's angry though. But in the first session, I'm telling him, oh, this is why you're angry because when you were younger, your mom was doing this, that, and that, and it made you feel X, Y, and Z. That feeling, that was a seed, and it produced fruit. It's producing fruit in the form of anger. That's why you're explosive like that. That's why you're hot and cold. You could be the nicest person in the room and the ugliest person in the room, because that belief, that trauma that I'm not enough, that I need to perform to be loved, is making you upset, and you don't recognize it. But a lot of men
So
don't know.
how
We
would
don't know that. We don't know. We really don't know. But that's how these things. That's how it shows up. When you have the chronic role-based identity, that's how it shows up.
Mhm. And I do believe that society plays such a big role because him blowing up, I could see where other women, his mom in his life, they probably were like, "Oh, he's just being a man," right? Like, as a man with an attitude, a man with a temper, sometimes can feel more of a secure man than a man that doesn't yell out and raise his voice in that way. I've seen
Right.
that in different societal standards.
Right.
So it's like over time in his mind is like, yo, no one's never had a problem with it. Everyone's kind of like just dealt
Nah, they
with
had a
it, and
problem with it.
now
They had a problem
No,
with
I'm
it.
talking about. I mean, he's not. What do you mean? He's not 14.
No, I'm talking about,
Like
yeah,
the
they had a
anger didn't
problem with
just
it from
happen.
when from even when he was an
Hmm.
adult. There was a problem with it. Yeah, that's why his girlfriend told him, "Yo, you gotta go therapy. You gotta deal with this anger stuff." And his mom told him,
What
yeah.
I'm trying to say is the anger didn't happen overnight.
"Oh no, no,
There's a
no,
period of time where it's conditioned to be like, okay, it's good that if you play, even if you played football, yeah, have that anger. You know, if you're protecting your girl, yeah, have that anger. If somebody try you in the club, they step on your foot, you got to be a man and like, don't let nobody try you. Don't let nobody test you. I think sometimes other people don't realize that you've conditioned this person to be okay with their anger until it becomes a problem for you, right? And then now you're trying to say, hey, you got to get that anger checked. That could be confusing to a man because it's like, well, all these years, it was never really that big of an issue. And now that I'm in this stage of my life, you telling me it's no good? That could be confusing.
well, yeah, it can be confusing. That I mean, it is confusing, but I don't necessarily. I see what you're saying, but I don't necessarily see that. I mostly see it's like that's just the only way that the guy knows how to deal with his anger. And people will tell him along the way, like, "Hey, you got to go to therapy. You got to people close to him," but he just doesn't do it because he's afraid. He don't want to be seen. Is most of the time it's something catastrophic that happens. And for this guy, it's good. He's not waiting for anything catastrophic. That means that, yo, I'm about to have a kid, and I know my anger issues have caused problems. Yeah, I don't want to be able to. I don't want to bring that into my child's life, and that's one thing that I recognize about millennials, millennials in general. I noticed that we pull from our upbringing and our childhood a lot. So like, it's
Mhm.
like we about to have kids, but like, yeah, I remember my mom, my dad did this and that. Yeah, I ain't trying to do that. Like, yo, so we'll do whatever needs to be done to heal those versions of ourselves. But honestly, we end up a lot of us still end up repeating those same cycles because you're still in the moment of healing through those things. And a lot of times to heal through those things, you actually have to be in the thing. You have to actually become the parent. And that's when you start to recognize, oh, I see why my dad was always mean and angry and irritable. Because that nigga was carrying a lot of shit. Like, he had the whole world on his shoulders. He was stressed out. Nobody was coming to save him. That's why he was like
So,
that.
so is that one way? Is that one thing that you would say someone needs to do to go from a role based identity to being authentically him?
Which is what?
Is put yourself in your parents' shoes. Like
Mm.
be in the thing, be the parent.
Yeah, because you need the experience. The thing is, when you say put yourself in your parents' shoes, you mean like think about what your parents went through, or are you talking about you actually becoming a parent?
Because that's what you just said. You said you have to actually become the parent. You have to be in the thing to actually heal from the thing.
Yes, yes. But what I'm saying is sometimes that's a lot of times that's what it takes because you're not theory can't get you out of it. Some people it happens like, but that's the power of therapy as well. Is that when you sit down with the person, even if the person doesn't have kids, you can still be able to have a conversation with a therapist that can walk you through, okay, what were your parents like growing up? You don't know? Okay, go speak to an uncle or an aunt. Like, start doing some research. Like, oh, they were like this because this and that and that. Oh, this is why they passed this down to me because they never resolved it. So now you're having a more broader picture of what your parents have experienced, and it can help you to forgive, and or you actually having a child yourself. And then you realize that, whoa, I can see why my dad wasn't around. I can see why he experienced X, Y, and Z. I can see why he spoke to me this way. I can see why my mom was emotionally disconnected. I can see. Now, it doesn't absolve them from their actions, but now as an adult, you're able to see, like, okay, this is not just a one, two, three step. And then when you start actually adulting yourself, you're like, whoa. But the crazy thing, some people don't make that connection. Some people don't make that connection.
Mm.
They don't make that connection where it's like, oh, I recognize, damn, my dad was this and that and that. Because now you're going through it, you don't recognize it. Some people don't make, they still just stay angry. That's just that's just a lack of awareness. And that's why some people just need to go see somebody to be able to get over that threshold, to have a bigger picture of what was happening in their lives when they were growing up.
So how would I get to the point that I'm authentically me? Because something that I struggle with is being the savior. Like that's one of the roles that was part of my identity, right? And I like doing it. Sometimes I enjoy it. And there are times where I feel like I'm obligated to do it
Mm,
because no one else is going to really step up, right? Especially in like group functions.
mm.
So, how would I get to a point where it's like, this is no longer my chronic role that I base my identity off of, and I'm getting to more of who I am authentically?
Yeah, it's it's simple. First, you have to be able to access what do you love to do outside of those roles, because what we're trying to do is the objective is to see ourselves outside of those roles. So one of the ways to do that is, okay, what do I love to do? Okay, if you don't know what you love to do, always go back to when you were a child. Think about what you used to love to do when you were a child. Write a list of those things and then start doing them, because those are the things that are authentic to you. Because when you were a kid, it's like, oh, I want to do this, and you just do it. You'll what? Play video games. You go play basketball. You draw, play an instrument, whatever you used to, whatever your hobbies were as a kid. Go back to those things, because a lot of the times, majority of the times, what we do subconsciously, we say, well, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a working man now. Yeah, I gotta tuck the inner child to the side, and yeah, I can't. I have no longer have space to do the things and the hobbies that I love. But that's not true. Those hobbies, the things that you love, nurturing that inner child helps you become more of a fortified adult. But we think that we don't have time for those things. Cause why? Because we're so caught up in the identity, the roles of just doing. Got to get things done. Got to make money. Got to take care of this. Got to do that. Got to do this. And we self abandon. Literally, that's exactly what we do. So if you want to be able to get out of the chronic role based identity, go back to what you used to love to do as a kid. What are your hobbies? Go to those things. Start doing them again. And you're going to start to feel differently. For some, you may feel guilty because you may feel like you're wasting time, but that just shows a lot about how anchored you are in your roles. For some people, they're going to initially feel like a breath of fresh air. It's like, dang, like, why did I stop doing this? You're going to feel better about yourself. Another thing you can do, which is probably the most difficult thing, is take a day and do absolutely nothing. Just
Hmm.
lay in bed, watch TV, get up to eat, get up to drink, go right to bed, watch TV, watch your favorite show, sleep all day. That is the most difficult thing to do, because rest is the direct enemy to a chronic role based identity. Because you're going to feel like, hey, I'm doing something wrong. I need to be doing this. So you have to be able to take account, like really pay attention to what you're thinking and how you're feeling in that moment of rest. If you keep trying to find things to do and you feel guilty and you feel anxious because you're not doing something, that's telling you everything you need to know. It's telling you that, hey, you got some work to do. So literally rest and do absolutely nothing.
That sounds crazy from a man's perspective, but it's definitely great advice. And something that stood out to me, what you said is heal before the pain. If you can tap into healing before the pain actually comes, that is a great weapon or tool for you to have for your future growth, because the pain is going to come regardless, right? And most people don't change until there's a certain level of pain that it makes them change. But if you can get into the arena of changing before or healing before the pain comes, it just allows you to have a better perspective.
Absolutely.
Any last thoughts?
Uh, man, we're going into 2026. So every single last one of our listeners, I want you to take the opportunity to sit down and write down, what do you want your life to feel like moving forward? Not look like, feel like moving forward. What are the emotions you want associated the dominant emotions, I would say, that you want to be associated in your life experience. And I think that's important because anything that happens, anything good that happens, there is good energy that precedes whatever experience that we're having. So a lot of us, we want to make these vision boards. I want to make this amount of money. I want to get this job, or I want to buy this car, and I want to do this thing, and I want to build this business. And we're strategically writing these things down going into 2026. But there is something that is a lot more important than actually strategically putting down the things that you want to accomplish. And that thing that is more important is the energy that precedes the strategy. If you don't feel good about yourself as a person, there is no way you're going to manifest the goals and the accomplishments that you set out. If you don't feel confident with yourself, if you don't walk with self-respect, if you don't feel happy about the person that you are right now, it's not going to happen. Because the thing is, many of us think that when we accomplish, so that's the outside, when we do something on the outside, it's going to fulfill the inside. No, it's the other way around. The dominant emotions that we feel internally, this is the energy that creates the life that we want. So take your time. Take your time. Sit down before the year begins, before next year begins, and say, how do I want to feel about what are the dominant emotions that I want to feel, that I want connected with my life experience? What are the dominant emotions that I want to feel about myself? That's when we're really getting into the micro. You do that, you'll see next year will be the best year of your life.
Let's go. And you are one man that I've never told I love you to more than anyone in my life. So,
That's
and I
true.
want us as men, we need to normalize that. We need to. That's something now. When I talk to my bros, I end the conversation. Hey, man, I love you, bro.
Yes,
And
sir.
I love to see them glitch too. Yeah. You too. So, with that being said, I love you, bro.
Love you too, bro. Until we pod again.
Fight, fight until you make it right. Fight, fight with all your might. Fight until you see the light. Fight.